Hi everyone, welcome to another live lesson with me, Matt Stead. In today's lesson, we're going to delve into something called Campanella playing, where we play lots of notes at the same time across different strings, like so. We're going to break it down. I'll explain what Campanella style is, how best to get it to work on your ukulele, and excitingly we're going to learn one of my favourite arrangements of all time. We're going to look at a ukulele version of Here Comes the Sun, an absolute Beatles classic, so hopefully you guys will enjoy that. You can still download your worksheets. They look like this. You can get them off my PayHip site for £5 with the full arrangement. Or, of course, if you're a member of my website, you get them at no extra cost included within your subscription. Links in the description and in the comments as well. So come and join me there if you can. If you haven't already, switch your live chat on rather than the standard, and then you can take part in all the community chat as well. And I love, hi Barbara, hope you're doing well. And it's really nice, especially on subjects like today, where we're going to really break it down and look into it in a lot of detail. It's really nice to hear your comments and questions as we go along. So no question too big, no question too small. Come and let me know any problems or any questions you've got whatsoever. Okay, just before we start, I forgot to put the I forgot to upload it. I've got the thumbnail for the next session. I'll just ping it onto this computer and then I can bring it up. So in 2 weeks' time, we're going to delve into a little bit of music theory again, because the last time we did theory, it was really popular and you guys really enjoyed it. So we're going to be looking at how to build any chord on the ukulele. So if you've ever wondered about chords with strange names, you know, you might have seen like an F sharp minor 7 flat 5 and you think, what on earth is that? And how do I play it on ukulele? Coincidentally, like this. I'll break it down and I'll show you how to play it. So we'll talk about major chords versus minor chords. We'll look at diminished jazzy chords, minor sevenths, all that good stuff. So we'll break it down in a lot of detail. Take a look at that in the next live lesson. So that's going to be 3:30 in a fortnight's time. Hi Karen, hope you're doing well. Thanks for your fantastic sheets, Karen. It's been so much fun working on those. It's been great. Hi David, hi Sonia, great to have you here, fantastic, fantastic. Okay, so let me just talk a little bit about what Campanella is and how it works. No worries, Sonia. I do that all the time, don't worry. Easy to hit the wrong letter, isn't it? So let me talk a little bit about what Campanella is and in a lot of detail. I think it's taken a while for all the comments to come through because you've all just suddenly magically appeared, which is really lovely. I was a bit worried it's just me and Barbara and Karen at the start there, but you guys are here too as well. So fantastic. Okay, so Campanella is basically a style of ukulele playing. It comes really from classical guitar, where we play a quick flurry of notes, one after the other, across different strings. I'll give you an example before we look at the sheets that we're going to be doing today. Say I wanted to play the following notes. Let's see. So say I wanted to play G. This is a G here, 3rd fret of the E string. A, F, and E. Now, most people, you think a G, a lot of people play it here because it's in the C major scale, right? There. So a natural reaction might be to play the G here. There's an A here, 2 frets higher, of course. 2 frets lower for an F and an open E. Now, if I play those one after each other, the only issue I have with this is that each time I pick the string or move my finger, the note preceding it ends. It can't kind of sustain, there's no length to the notes, because as soon as I move for the next note, it's dead. So I'll do that one more time. Now, what I can do is play exactly the same notes across the strings. So this time what I'm going to do, and you can have a go, let's just do that together. So I'm playing E string and I'm picking 3rd fret, 5th fret, 3rd fret, 1st fret and off. And that's G, A, G, F, E. Okay. Well, let's think about where else we could play those notes. I could start with that G there. I could even hit an open G up here, couldn't I? If I've got a high G. I could hit an A by playing the string nearest the floor open. So I could put an F here maybe on the 5th fret of the E string. And I could play an open E. So if I put that together, see how each note rings into the next like a little bell, as opposed to, you can really hear the difference, right? And there's some science behind this as well. When those notes are sympathetic to each other, so they're in the same scale, sort of do something called the harmonic series, you get what we call overtones, where even within a note you hear other notes. It's kind of like, I kind of think of it like the sum is greater than all the parts. When you put all those notes together, I'll do that one more time. I come really close to the mic. So this is all on one string. And this is across the strings. Hear the difference versus. Basically, guitarists, as I say, classical guitarists and ukulele players have recognised that this can be a really powerful thing to allow arrangements to have a really nice, open, kind of jangly sound to it. And campanella, you might think of campanology, you know, which is the art of bell ringing in churches. It's I guess it's a Spanish word. It comes from the same place. So campanella, bells, bell-like, campanology. So that's what it is. And if you're really interested, if you see players like Samantha Muir, who we have regularly play at our ukulele retreats and festivals, the late great John King, he was a fantastic player of Campanella-style. Check out their music and see if you can spot these little Campanella phrases. Well, the brilliant thing about Campanella is it works with this classic song, Here Comes the Sun, by the Beatles. Because it's all based on this shape of a G chord, okay? So if you have a scan through that first page, don't worry, I'm going to teach you how to play it bit by bit. But if you have a scan through that first page, you'll notice that we've got 2 measures of G, 2 measures of G on this line. We've got 3 measures of G on this line and 2 on this line, or it might even be 3 on this line. So a large part of this song is just coming out from playing a G chord. Now on the guitar, George Harrison would have used a D shape on guitar. I think he actually played it with a capo, so slightly different pitch. But you would have the same shape where we've got these 3 fingers down here. And if you have a look closely at the tablature on the first line there, notice that all of these notes, apart from one, this one here where I have to play 2 notes on the same string. Apart from that note there, that A and the B, all of those notes are on different strings, and that creates a really nice vibrant sound, and we get all these overtones from it. And I think it's one of the most kind of beautiful and kind of pleasing thing about this song, which is really, really lovely. Laura's saying she calls her soprano uke bell because she rings like a bell when she plays Campanella on it. I love that. That's lovely. I'm always too scared to name my ukes, Laura, because I get so scared that I won't ever be able to sell them. Not that I do sell. I used to sell a lot of my ukes, but now I've pretty much settled on the ones I love, and I don't do it very often. But yeah, I get scared to name them just in case I couldn't sell them. It'd be like selling one of your children. Okay, so let's have a look at that first measure then. So remember with tablature that everything's upside down. One way to think about it is imagine your uke is turned the other way around, if that makes sense. So the A string is the top line of the tablature, E string next line down, C string third line down, and G string is down the bottom. So just remember that when you're picking out these notes. Now again, this is another lesson in thinking about if you see chord names above a piece of music like this, it's really good if you can hold that chord down for as much as the measure as possible. Some people, including myself when I first started, particularly on guitar, some people take tabs too literally and they just think about putting their fingers down when the numbers come. So that would look something like this. I'll show you. So I could pick each note in time like this. But that's really awkward, right? I'm having to use loads of different fingers and put them down in time. But if I finger a whole G chord, and that's what I'd like you to do, you can just pick the G string open, that's our first note, then the next string down, C string, then the A string, and then the E string. And that gives us the first 4 notes, even without having to move a single finger on this hand. It's part of the reason why this song sounds really sophisticated, but it's not as hard to play as it looks, which is fantastic. So let's do that again. The notes you're playing there are G, D, B, G. Okay. And then let's just finish that phrase, then I'll talk about uke angles and things like that. The next note, the third to last one, is an open A. So we're going to have to take this second finger away from the fretboard temporarily. But what we want to do is not lose the whole chord. Just lift that one finger and put it back down like that. Just picking the A string. If I put that together really slowly, have a watch and a listen. Okay, so the only movement is this finger. And then we've got one more G at the end. Have a little go at that, guys, whilst I'm getting ready for the next bit. See if you can try that first measure and let me know how you get on with it. In terms of the note lengths, we've got quavers right into the end where we've got that crotchet. Think of it as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, so just allow that, what is it, the sixth note to ring out a little longer. You could also think of it as quick, 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 slow, quick. Okay, have a little try. Okay, fantastic. Now bring this back on. In terms of form, and today we're going to be doing fingerstyle, proper fingerstyle if you like, where we're going to play prima. That just means we use the thumb for the G string, because in Spanish this is P for polka. That's Spanish for thumb. The index for the C string, picking upwards, that's indice in Spanish. The ring finger up on the E string, that's medio in Spanish. And then the ring finger in Spanish is annular, so we call it P-I-M-A. So any note that's on that G string, pick with the thumb coming down. C string we're going to pick up, E string with your middle, and then the A string with your ring finger. Okay, let me see if I can... come a little bit closer. There we go. Ah, that's better. So thumb, finger, finger, finger. Notice I've got a nice arch on my hand. I'm using this little finger to anchor. Some people prefer to float free, but I really like to anchor. It kind of just gives me some kind of steadiness. And then nice arch on my arm coming over the top of the ukulele. And I'm going to pick each string down in turn. I'll bring the sheet music back on in a minute, but just so you can see what's happening with both hands, if I put it round like this, that first measure will look like this. So because I'm in prima style, I use my thumb for the first note, index, ring, middle, ring, and then middle again. Okay. Really nice, right? Let me know how you got on with that, folks. Laura's just saying her uke's the only one she's named, so she can never sell her. That's a good plan. That's definitely a good plan. Thanks, Barbara. Thanks for the heads up. So let's have a look at the next measure. It's still based on a G chord at the moment. So we're going to keep our G chord held down, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to pick the C string, the A string, and then we're going to take this finger off again. Okay, so then the next chord we're coming up to is a C or a C6. So we're going to want to come to this shape or all open. So at this point, you can take your G chord away. Okay, hit that G note there, 3rd fret of the E string and off. Okay, so if I put that together, I'll have this. Okay, let's put those first 2 measures together really slowly. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 Okay, really lovely. Now again, it doesn't matter if you haven't got that straight away, if you haven't got it perfect first time, doesn't matter, okay? This is all about practice, 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 and understanding how to do it. So as long as you know the Campanella style and how it's working, you can take your time and work through this a bit at a time. But once you've got that, you'll find that the more you practice it, you'll build up muscle memory and your fingers will just hit the right strings without really having to think about it. I'm going to test myself now. Yay! That was with my eyes closed, and that's not showing off. I just mean I've played this enough times that it's in my muscle memory, so I don't have to think about it. You'll get there too as well. So the next measure is based on a C6 chord, which is just a C chord, which would normally look like this, but with an open A, and that's implied in the chord. So what I do for this one is just put my ring finger down on the 3rd fret of that E string, and I just pick through the C, E and A strings like this. And then I come back to this G note, open E, and then the next chord is based on this G. Da da, a D chord, sorry, not D, not G, D. Da 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 da. But because we're not playing any notes on the G string, I just like to just finger 2 notes like this, middle 2 strings here, and I'm going to pinch down here using 2 fingers. Oh, wrong 2 strings, middle 2 like that. Okay, and then just take off your finger for the open E, that's the 0, 2, 3, and that open A. And notice that open A at the end. It's ringing out at the same time as the notes that we just done on the middle 2 strings. And again, that's a very kind of a small version of Campanella, which is really, really nice. If you want to be really fancy pants on this bit, what you can do is when you do these middle 2 strings, you can hit one at a time very quickly. So if I do it in slow-mo, it'll look like this. Sorry, I'll do that a bit better. Okay, and a bit faster. And it gives me a roll, so then I can... Isn't that pretty? Okay. With rolls, a lot of people get really worried about rolls, that they have to do a special technique. It's all about peeling fingers and things like that. But it's literally just picking one string after the next and doing it a little bit quicker, and that's as fast as you really need to go for a roll. Isn't that lovely? Fantastic. Okay, so I'll do this twice through. I recognise that you can't see both hands particularly well when I've got the sheet music up. So I'll do the whole of the first line with the sheet music in place, and then I'll try it without so you can really see what's happening with both hands. Let's just move that over a little bit so you can see a little bit more. Okay, I'll come in on close cam. Here we go. So from the start, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and pause, pause. let's do that a bit slower. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... And you might think that sounds a bit strange, that slow, but I will actually practice things that slow as I'm learning them. Couple of reasons. First of all, it means that you're not playing out of time, because it's better to play in time slowly than it is to play out of time quickly, because when you play out of time quickly, you kind of you're teaching yourself to not have good timing, and it can bring anxiety into your playing as well. So it's better to just go really slow and then just gradually increase that tempo as you go. Just increase it a little bit each day and you'll be absolutely fine. So did you notice on that, on a couple of the measures, I'll really point it out, we've got, I'll tell you what, I'll take this away for a second so you can really see what's happening with both hands. Notice that at the start we've got loads of campanella. And if I stop at any point during that, if I pick really hard, sorry. Notice you can hear it's almost like more than one note ringing at the same time. I'll do that slowly so you can see what's happening. Okay, so let me know how you get on with that, guys. That's introducing the kind of theory, if you like, on Campanella. And this is the introduction part to the song, which is kind of like an instrumental verse in a way. Just notice when we do get into the verse that the syncopation of the notes changes ever so slightly, which you'll see in a little bit. But let's keep going, doing so well, guys. Well, hopefully you are. Hopefully you're not throwing your ukulele at the screen. So let's take on the next line, which is pretty much the same thing again. So again, because we've got this G chord indicated above measure 5, keep your G chord in place up here. And again, we're just going to pick the relevant strings. So G string, D string, A string, E string, then lift off that A string. Okay, so just the same as the first measure. Only this time we've got a slight change. Actually, not on this measure, this is the same. But when we get to the end of it and we get to measure 7, we go to a C major 7, which looks like this. Here's a C chord, C major 7, C dominant 7, C6. So this time we've got a finger on this 2nd fret here. Okay. And we pick the C string open, the bottom 2 strings physically, and we're going to go to a Hawaiian style D7, just 2 fingers down here. Okay, and again I like to do a little roll here, so if I move this out of the way a sec, I actually come down with my thumb, then index, then ring, so I get this lovely little roll. Again, don't overthink it. Try not to think about peeling your fingers off or anything like that. Just think 3 strings one at a time, and then go a little bit faster, and then a little bit faster. And it's never as fast as you think, actually, a roll. Okay, so it gives it just a nice peel. You could even, if you want, do a little thumb drag down on that one if you find it easier, because the melody note is this F sharp, this 2nd fret of the E string. Okay, so that will work as well. So I'll stay here and I'll do the most of that 2nd line so you can see it and hear it, then I'll bring the sheet music back on. Okay, let's bring sheet music back on and we'll do it together. So this is from measure 5, guys. All right, so from measure 5. just shift that over again. 2, 3, and 4, and okay, just like that. Okay, hopefully that works. Let's try it from there. Just try it from the top, nice and slowly, right from the start. 2 and 3 and 4 and next line. C major 7 and Hawaiian D7 to finish. Really nice, fantastic. Let's finish off this introduction then. So the next measure is not quite the same as the first measure, but almost. We hit the G string and C string, keeping that G down. Only this time we pinch the bottom 2 strings. I'm going to use my ring finger, middle finger. That gives me. Okay. Lift up that A for the A note like before. Measure 10 is just like measure 2. Okay. Then we go to that C major 7 shape again, just this finger down here on the 2nd fret of the bottom string. And here we get the first hint of something different. It's an A7 with a G added. I just realised it seems really dark in this room today. I don't know whether my lighting's changed or something. Maybe a bulb's gone. I'm just going to put another light on. Sorry guys, I'm still here. I don't know if that might help a little bit. Might brighten it up. Yeah, that's a bit better. Yeah, that's better. I think I forgot to put the main light on. No. We got to that A7. It's a bit of an unusual one because we need a G note as the melody note, the last thing you hear. We could play a G note here, but if we put one down here, then we can just pinch the middle 2 strings, which sounds really nice, like so. Okay, so that's on measure 11, second measure down here. So if I go from measure 10, let me just do that one. I come in on close come. This funny A7 note at the end. Now can you see in the next measure we've got something quite interesting. We've got a number 2 that represents a B note because we're playing the 2nd fret of the A string. But can you see, if you look really carefully, there's a little tiny 0 before it and then a diagonal line. And what that's telling you is we're playing a grace note before it. Sometimes people call it a ghost note. And it basically means we're sliding in to that 2nd fret. And it doesn't even necessarily specify where you start from. It could say 1, 2, it could say 0, 2. Sometimes you'll even just get the diagonal line with no number in front of it. But you can always tell a grace note. If I bring that really big on the screen, see that under the A7 measure? You can always tell a grace note because the first number is smaller than the 2nd number. Now, what that means is we're going to slide into the 2nd fret. It'll sound like this. Whoops. No, it won't. That was rubbish. It'll sound like this. Like that. Sorry, guys. I wasn't quite ready. Okay. Now, what I like to do is take my first finger and just start it roughly on the 1st fret, quite far back because I want the feel of a slide. I don't want it just going from here to here. I want a slightly bigger slide. And notice I'm just sliding in to that B note. I only pick once with this hand and then we get the sound of the slide. And it's really nice and quick like this. And then we take our finger off the open A and then put your finger down on the 3rd fret for the G note that follows it. So that would sound like this. It's the bit in the song where George sings, It's all right. Okay. Actually, it doesn't because it's on the intro. But if it was a verse, that's what you'd be singing at that point. So that's what's going on in that measure. Let's just try that all together really slowly. 2, 3, 4. Okay. If you really struggle with that, you can just hit the B note. But with that lovely slide. It's really pretty, isn't it? Which is lovely. Really fantastic. Now that takes us into my favourite part of this whole song. This is really, really sweet. Now, notice here that the time signature on measure 14 up here, it changes to 3/8 timing. So in time signature, the top number means how many beats there are in a bar. And normally there's 4 beats, right? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... But here we've got 3 beats, 1, 2, 3, like a waltz. And because the bottom number says 8, they're played twice as quick as you would play a beat in 4/4 time. So think of it as like kind of like almost like quick beats or quick notes. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And this is something that George Harrison does in a lot of his songs, both in his solo repertoire and with the Beatles. And it's something that Paul McCartney does in a few Beatles songs as well. So it's like we're almost going to waltz time ever so quickly for a little bit. And it sounds really delightful. It's this bit. I'll show you how to play it in just a sec, but it sounds like this. Sorry, sorry, I used the wrong finger. So see how I've got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. The time signature is actually changed. And it's really nice changing the time signature rather than keeping it the same and then making all the note lengths different. Because you can see all those like triplet notes there, 1, 2, 3, one after another, which is really super, super nice. So the measure before it, what we can do, hi Karen, by the way, hope you're doing well. So the measure before, we're going to play the first few notes first, the end of the phrase with the G chord down. Again, that's like, it's all right. Now this next bit is super crucial. As I used to say in Hello Hello, I shall say this, listen very carefully, I shall say this only once. For those that don't know British comedy from the 1980s, you have no idea what I'm on about. Doesn't matter, but just pay attention to this bit. What we're going to do is we're going to use our ring finger, our third finger. This is really important. You could sketch that in on your sheets if you wanted to. And when we play the D note, the 2nd fret of the C string, we're going to start with our 3rd finger on the string. Then we're going to pick it. And just like we did with the grace slide earlier, but slightly slower, we're going to pick once on the C string. And then we're going to move that finger up to the 4th fret. That's another E note. You've got an E note there, and you've got one there. Same note, okay? So D to E. Okay. The reason we're using this 3rd finger is that the next bit that follows, we have to put our 2nd finger down here for the G note, which we can do. So we end up with this shape. Have a watch of this. See how fluent that is. So 2nd fret to 4th fret slide. We put that shape down. Then what we do is we play the 2nd fret of the C string with our 1st finger. We take away this 1st finger for an open C. We put it back down. Okay. Then we've got a pull off where we go 3 to 2 on the E string. Kind of like the opposite of the slides we're doing. We hit the note on the E string and then we take away the 2nd finger even though we're only picking once. Okay, open E and a D note at the end. I'm going to put that together really slowly. This takes loads of practice. I'll move the sheet in a minute so you can see it better, but just in case anyone's sight reading, okay, it will look like this. Okay, so notice third finger, and then this second finger stays there the whole time. I'll do it without the sheet music so you can see better what's happening with this hand. Still doing Pima style. So slide up. Sorry. Sometimes I don't concentrate hard enough. Okay, let's try it together. Give it a try. Again, this might take a fair bit of practice, but just give it your best shot. 2, 3, 4. And I love that slide. He puts it in the original. A lot of arrangements on you don't have that, but I think it's so pretty, isn't it? It's really nice, that ding, 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 which is really, really, really sweet. Now, eventually at tempo, it's going to be quite tricky. It's about this speed. But I remember when I was working out this arrangement and writing it myself, what I love about it is it sounds more sophisticated than it is. Like I say, the movement on your left finger, there's not much at all, on your left hand even. And your right hand is mostly just playing arpeggios, 3 notes at a time, right? Takes us into the next section. Fantastic. So let me know how you're getting on with that, guys, so far. Don't worry, Kev, we all like that sometimes. We all have the fingers. Are they not lifting at the right time, or wrong ones going down where? I do that too. There's a nice exercise that Craig Chi showed me ages ago that he sometimes does to make sure you lift up the right finger at the right time. You've probably seen this. What you can do is if you line up all your fingers on the A string like this and just lift up one finger at a time and then move them all onto the next string. And notice there, when I moved up this ring finger, my second finger kind of wanted to move at the same time. So it's good for coordination as well. And you can do that all the way up to the top of the strings and back down again. It's a really good way to think about moving your fingers individually. You can even challenge yourself, put them all down the bottom to move just a random one. So you might say, I'm going to move just that second finger up, just that third finger up, just that little finger up, just that first finger up. And it's a great way to really kind of coordinate those fingers and think about which ones you're moving. But it is quite tough. I can't remember the exact science behind it, but 2 of your fingers on your hand share the same ligament or tendon. So I think it's tendon, isn't it? So it can be a little tricky to move them individually. But yeah, there's my little tip for today. Stolen from Craig G. He won't mind. He's a lovely guy. Okay, so let's go back. Should we try the whole of the first page? Let's do it. Let's go really, really slowly. And you might think, hang on, we've been doing this nearly, 45 minutes. But actually, this is most of the song because there's so much repetition. So don't worry, you're doing incredibly well. I'll come in on close cam so you can hopefully mostly see both hands. And I'll go really slowly. Let's go from the top. Again, if you make a mistake, doesn't matter one bit. Okay? 1 and 2. And 3 and 4 and second measure, fingers off, 2 fingers down for the D chord, measure 5, we go again, G shape. Off and a Hawaiian D7, just the top 3 strings. Fantastic. Back to your G shape again. Third line down. Fingers off for that C major 7 apart from this one. That funny A7 chord on the middle 2 strings. Then if you can, grace slide to 2. Back to our G shape. And then third finger on the 2nd fret goes up. Off. Okay, and that takes us into the next section. Really lovely, isn't it? And even if you haven't got that now, isn't it brilliant that that's achievable, that you can do this on the ukulele? It's almost like a self-accompaniment thing, isn't it, chord melody? It almost sounds like it's 2 ukuleles playing at the same time, which is a really, really lovely thing to do. Hopefully you're really, let me know, can you really feel that campanella? Can you hear those different strings ringing out over each other? It's really sweet, isn't it? And you can always spot a campanella arrangement, because if you look at the first measure of every line, look at how all the different notes are on different strings. Even down here on measures 15, 16 and 17, you've got that 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You could technically play all those notes on the same string, but it just wouldn't sound as nice. You wouldn't have those overtones and that jangliness, which is what Campanella's all about. Let's have a look at the verse then. So that's the introduction, but the verse is basically the same thing. You've just got to lift your fingers up in the right places pretty much. So we're looking underneath the funny symbol where you've got the percentage sign and then the verse. Okay, that's called a senior mark. We'll talk about that in a little bit. G chord down makes everything easier, and we're just going to hit the strings one at a time, just like we did in the introduction. And then this bit's just like the intro again. This time we're going to pinch the middle 2 strings open. And then we go on to the next page, and it's much as we're doing before. 2 fingers down for that D shape. Roll it if you can. Okay. Then we go to our G shape again. Keep it down the whole of the next 2 measures. Lift up briefly. Everything off apart from this one down here for the C major 7. And then this time just 2 here in the middle, 2 fingers here. And there's one more that we're going to play at the start of the next phrase, but let's just piece all that together. So we'll go from the first page, I'll flip the pages, we'll go from the first page down here where the repeat marker is, really slowly. 2 and 3 and 4 and fingers off. Flip pages. I'll pause for a minute because you might have to physically do it as well. And then up here. 23, another G shape. Stay in it. Come out of it for the C major 7th shape. And then those 2 fingers, both sides, gives you the D chord at the end. Fantastic. Then we go to the next line, which is the start of the chorus. This is a bit that actually has the words, here comes the sun, do-do-do-do. Here comes the sun, and I'll say, it's all right. And notice, look, we've got a repeat of what we've already done, which is really great. There's a lot of repetition in songs, so it's not as tricky as it, well, it is tricky, but it's not as impossible as it looks, right? So let's go from the kind of this section really starts from those last two notes on the first line. And even though it says a D chord, really the very last two notes come from a G chord. So see how we've got 2 and 3? But just like we did in the verses in the intro, rather than holding down just 2 fingers like this, for that very last bit of the top line, 2 and 3, hold down your G chord, because then you can pinch the middle 2 strings. And then the next measure, measure 27, your fingers are in the right place for the start of the G chord. Lift off just for the A note and back down. And then again here on measure 28, you just hit the right strings in the right order. Lift off. Okay. So from the end of measure 26, that will sound like this. Okay, let's do that together. 3, 4. Then we go to that C major 7 shape again, like we did in the verses. And then the funny A7, just like in the intro. We're going to do the grace note slide to the 2nd fret. I like to use my 1st or 2nd finger. Okay, so back to our G shape again here, at the end of the 2nd line. And then my favourite bit again, remember to use your 3rd finger to slide up. Keep that 2nd finger down the whole time. Okay, so let's try that again. I can't say this enough. Don't worry if you haven't got this right now, but you can just listen along and practice as best you can. Let's try it from the last note of measure 26, end of the 1st line in the 2nd page. Here we go. 2, 3, 4. Funny A7. Slide if you can to 2. Back to your G shape. 3rd finger slide 2 to 4. 2nd finger down. Pull off. Okay, and that takes us to the bit that says to coda. Now this is where we need some musical signposts, right? So we know exactly where we're going in the song, because there's some literal repetition here where we've got to go back to a certain point. Whenever you see a to coda, you can ignore it as long as you've not played the next bit. So if you're playing any song through and you see the words to coda, if there's still music to come that you haven't done yet, don't ignore it, but do ignore it. I was going to say don't play it or do ignore it, and I got the wrong word from each. So do ignore it, don't play it. Okay, the reason being is the coda you only ever do the last time through in a piece of music. So after you've done that, that bit there, we're going to go to where we've got the first repeat, and this is a bit like we did in the intro. G chord down, and then this funny D chord where we've just got 2 down. And then notice we've got repeat markers, so that means we've got to go either back to the start or wherever there's repeat markers pointing in the other direction. Repeat markers are the ones where you've got a thick line, a thin line and 2 dots. Can you see it there at the end of that measure? So we need to find where there's 2 thick lines and a dot going in the opposite direction. And if you imagine we're a bouncing ball and we've bounced all the way back, that's the end of measure 18 there, you see. Okay, all right. So so we go back to where it says verse and you've got that senior mark again, basically. Oh, David's got a question. David said, bar 26, you're holding and G, but it's noted 2-2, then 2-3. Let me have a butcher, make sure I've got that right. It could be the arrangement's wrongly notated, but let me just check. Bum bum. So 26. Sorry guys, I'm just double checking because it could be really important. Oh yeah, yeah, don't worry David, I know where you are. Yeah, it's a bit of an unusual one there. I haven't notated the G chord because it's like can you see how it's a tied note going into the next phrase? So we tend to, when we've got a tied note like that, often we'll just put the chord name at the start of the next measure. So the last two notes are based on a G chord, like that. But the two notes before it are based on the D chord. So most of that note is a D chord, like that. And it's just the next two notes almost belong to the next measure. All right, so you're right. It's notated as one thing, but you've got the 2 and the 3. But it's, yeah, definitely coming from that G shape. Okay. So just a quick reminder, we got to the end of the third line down here, and we're going to repeat. We're going to go back to the start of the verse here. So let's do it. Even if you don't want to play it or you're not ready yet, I'll just play it through really nice and slowly. So I'm going from the repeat marker, measure 19. Here we go. 3, 4. Last measure of that page. And then I'm just going to flip the page. D shape. Measure 23, back to G chord. Here's the bit David was talking about. We've got the D chord, but the last two notes, think of them as belonging to the G on measure 27. C major 7th shape. Funny A7 middle 2 strings. Slide to 2 if you can. Better than I did it. Okay, back to G. And then again, third finger, which allows you to put these F1s down. Okay, so that takes us to measure 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. And we get to the repeat section again. Whenever you've got a 1 and a 2 repeat in a song, you only ever play the first repeat the first time through. So this time we're going to skip over repeat number 1 and we're going to jump straight to measure 39, which is actually quite nice. It's just another G chord. Okay, just like that. That's all it is, measure 39. Just playing through the G. No. And then for some reason, again, I'm not moaning here, but for some reason, a lot of arrangements, guitar and uke, they miss this next section out. And I think it's such a shame because I love it. It's really, really cool. It's probably because it repeats like, how many times is it? 6 times. So I guess it gets a bit boring, maybe. That's probably it. But it's another section where we go to different time signatures. This one's pretty nuts, right? Because you've got a 4/4 time signature in measure 40 where it says bridge. That's the bridge part of the song. Then we've got 3/8 for 2 measures because there's 3 notes and they're all 8th notes. Then the next measure, we've got 5 notes in it. What? So we've gone to 5/8 timing. And then we're back to 4/4. Now, the Beatles probably weren't aware. They might have been aware that they're going to a waltz time at some point, but they won't have been thinking, okay, I'm going from 4/4 to 3/8 to 5/8 to 4/4. They're just thinking we're going to add a bit of a waltzy feel to this bit. But notating it this way makes it a lot easier to play. So let's have a look at what's going on here in the bridge. It's really nice. There's this bit that sounds like this. You'll recognise it. Sorry, you will if I play it properly. It's the kind of fun, sun, 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 here it comes, that bit, which is really, really sweet, right? So what I've done is I've kind of taken the guitar arpeggio from that section and I've put it onto uke. It's really pretty. So what we're doing is we're fingering a D chord, like so, and we're just going to pinch with our thumb and index finger the top two strings physically, so the G and the C strings. Now, if you've got really amazing eyesight, much better than mine, if I zoom in, can you see underneath the chord, the D chord, there's a little tiny dot. Underneath where it says bridge, then you've got D. There's a tiny dot between the D and the note. And after it, we've got that little quarter note rest. That little thing almost looks like a comma, right? What that's telling you is that we're going to play that slightly staccato. Now, again, it's one of those things which sounds fancy pants, but it's kind of easy to do, so don't sweat it too much. Basically, what we're going to do is, rather than this, where both notes are the same, after the first time you pinch, you're going to put your fingers back down almost immediately. See how it kills it dead? That gives you this bounce sound because the first pinch is short and sharp, and then the second one you're allowed to ring out. Think of it like a little trampoline. Doing, doing. Right, it's kind of like that. And the only thing you have to do is staccato is just put your fingers back down. It's that simple, like that. Okay, so we get this. Okay, and then you just play through the arpeggio. So it just means you play the bottom three strings physically: C string, E string, A string, keeping your fingers on that chord. And we do the same thing when we go to this shape. It's an A sharp, otherwise known as a B flat. But because we're not playing any notes on a G string, we're just going to finger it like this. You might recognise this as a G minor 7 chord. Okay, and we play the bottom three strings. For the F chord, again, because we don't need the note on a G string, you can just put one finger down, just lift off. Okay. C chord. Sorry, do that again. Then we've got a hammer on E to G. So you hit the E string open and then just push down relatively forcefully with that third fret, third finger, your ring finger. Okay. I just put those four measures together so you can hear it. Bounce, bounce, arpeggio. Quicker. It's really cool, isn't it? But again, practice it slowly. Arpeggio, B flat shape, F shape, C shape, hammer on. Courage of your conviction, remember, for hammer on. Come down relatively forcefully, not too quick, you don't want, with a decent amount of force. And then that bottom measure 44, we're just back to a G chord. This won't affect you guys, but I just need to move up my score because on my system I've got something in the way there. So okay, cool. So we've got a G chord all the way. You could strum this, or if you want, you can pinch all four strings at the same time. Or if you want to be really fancy pants, you could do a 4-finger roll where you hit the G string with your thumb and then roll through your next. Okay. And then we've got that arpeggio that we were doing a minute ago. Remember when we were doing this? Well, we're doing another arpeggio, but this time backwards. We'd hit A string, E string, C string twice, like this. Now that's just filling in a gap between the melody. It's not anything that's sung or anything like that. It's just filling up the measure. Okay, so measure 44. Okay, you hit the chord and then just come backwards through that arpeggio. I put that all together, the whole of that bridge. It'll sound like this. Fun, 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 here it comes. I do it again. Sun, 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 here it comes. Faster. Sun, 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 here it comes. Sun, 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 here it comes. And so on and so forth. Now you don't have to go that quick. Again, practice it slow and speed up. You don't even have to play it 6 times because, of course, when the band do it, you've got all sorts going on. You've got the drums, guitars, bass. There's the vocals with harmonies going on. Whereas when we play it on ukulele, it's just us. So it can get a bit boring after 3 or 4 times. So maybe just play it 3 times through and then go on to the next bit, which is really, really cool, where we go to the interlude. And this is basically building up tension on a D chord. Remember that in any key, whenever you play the 5 chord, if you think back to that last live lesson we did on the circle of fifths, or Campanella if you join me on a Mondays, we talk about these chord numbers, don't we? And the 5 chord in any key is about creating tension. It makes you want to go back to the start and it creates a sense of tension. And that's exactly what's going on here. For the interlude, basically, all you're doing is a D7 chord, Hawaiian D7, and then just playing around with it. If we were just strumming this, it'd just be da 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 da. Literally just one chord, right? But what we've got is this lovely. And then it resolves itself on the next page where we go to this form of deacon. Okay. Again, let me talk you through this. We're nearly there, guys, by the way. You've done so well. It's just repetition after this, going back to the right place. So let's go back. I'll just show you how to do this bit. So Hawaiian D7 down with this hand. Okay. Then with this hand, you're going to pinch the first chord where it says interlude. You're going to pinch staccato style again. So as you pinch it, put your fingers down straight away. So we don't want, what we want is like that. And then the next one you let ring out. So basically it's that bounce, bounce again, right? Bounce, 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 bounce. Okay, let's go through that a bit at a time. So D7 chord up here, pinch the top 3 strings physically. And then one more time. And as you do, lift off this finger. For the next type of D7 chord, put this 3rd finger down. You can keep the other one where it is. We lift off briefly. Next one is a D7 chord with the high A note, so just leave it all the way, all 4 now. We put that G down briefly. I put the whole of those 3 measures together really slowly. 3, 4. And then to finish it off on the next page, basically we just do a D7 chord, which looks like this. What does it look like? This. And we just strum it or pick it. little arpeggio, and then little finger goes on to 5, and we've got another one of those kind of bouncy chords, just 2 in a row. Okay, I put that together really slowly, so you can see it. Okay, so I go from measure 45, really slow. Page, we've got our D7 shape, finger down. Now, believe it or not, that's basically it. That's everything you need to do to play this song, because all of the rest of it is just repeats of something we've already done. So let me just talk you through the kind of the signposts, if you like, the musical signposts there where we got to. So can you see when we got to the end of the first measure of this page, the last page, can you see how there's a note there that says DS al coda, DS al coda? That stands for da segna, which means we go back to the segna mark, and that's that mark that looks like a percentage sign with an S going through it. And then we go to the coda. So basically after you play measure 48, and you can write this down or just make a note, watch this back later. We go back to the segna mark, which, believe it or not, isn't even on the next page back. It's on the page before that, I think. Yeah, there it is. It's on the first page. So we go right back to that segna mark, okay? Now, don't worry, you're going to play the whole of these verses through again. You don't have to do it perfectly, but just so you can see how it works, I'll take you through it. At the end of this, I'll play it through as well. I'll have to pause to turn pages, but I'll play it through really slowly all the way so you can see the musical directions as we go. You'll get it, Laura. You'll get it, Angela. It's a tricky old word. Tricky one to do, but you will get it, I promise. Take your time. So from the segna mark, where it says verse, we do all of this bit of the verse again. Then we go to the second page. Funny D chord, then the last 2 notes, first line. C major 7, A7, little slide, G chord. Then we got the slidey bit. Now remember what I said the first time through, you only ever play the coda the last time through. Well, we've been told to play the coda now, DSL coda, right? So this time when we hit that coda, we're going to jump to the coda, which is the thing, another musical direction, right? It's the thing that looks like a target sign, there's your coda. So it means we jump to measure 49. Keep going, guys, because if you can, you've basically got this now, which is another chorus part. To the C major 7, middle 2 of A7, measure 53. We've got the slidey bit, technical term, right? Now on this measure 59, we just go back to a G chord. And we do the slidey bit again. And then we get the final bit, which I need to lift up because I've got a button in front of. We go, it's another bit of arpeggio, just like in the bridge. We finish on that G chord. Notice down the bottom there we've got decrescendo. See that arrow getting ever kind of sharper and smaller. That means that we're playing more quietly as we do that section. You don't have to, but I tend to slow it down there as well. Decrescendo means noise, ritandando means speed, and we haven't got rit there, but I just like to do it because it sounds nice. So when I do that last bit, I tend to quieten down. And then imagine I've put the brakes on at the end, which is really, really lovely. That's it, right? So, key things to take away. I'll play this whole thing through for you so you can follow my musical directions as well, the signposts and everything. But what I want you to take away from this is two main things. And I could have saved you an hour and a half, but I wanted you to join me and have a lovely afternoon, right? But two main things. When you're playing Campanella style, we want to hit as many melody notes across different strings as possible. We want to play as few notes as possible on the same strings. Even more important than that, when you're playing chord shapes, particularly G chords, because we can get 3 notes out of them, keep that shape down. So whatever you do, like on that first measure, don't think of them as 7 or 8 individual notes like this, which would be a nightmare. Just think G chord, just lifting up where I have to. And even if I play that and fast forward, look, notice that it's effortless with this left hand. It has to do very little. And again, that's another sign that you're playing lovely Campanella style, that actually all the work is done with this hand and the left hand doesn't move about quite as much as when you're playing in the standard way. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to play this not super slow, but I am going to play it slightly below tempo, and I'll do the whole piece just so that if you forget with the repeats and where we go and everything, you can see how it works. If you can play along, join in with me. If you find it a struggle and you just want to soak it up but still play, you could just do the chords. Da 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 da. Okay, just so you can join in if you want, or you could do just some of the melody. All right, let's have a go. Let's try the whole thing. I'll stick around for a few minutes at the end after that, see if there's any questions at all. Thanks for joining me, of course. And Joe, yeah, you know it, economy of motion, exactly right, exactly right. We want to move those fingers as little as possible to make it really smooth. Okay, here we go then, from the top. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and second line. G chord again. A7. Slide. First verse. Pause whilst I switch pages. I need to get a pedal. Measure 27. C major 7. A7. G chord. Slidey bit. First repeat. back to the first page on repeat marker, which is the bottom line. Next page. Come on, computer. Sorry guys, my computer's being too slow. Going into 27. A7. Slide a bit. Jump over the next measures to the second repeat. And our bridge. Repeat this as many times as you like. I'll do it 3 times. One more time. Then our D7 interlude. The page to your D7. Then we've got DSL coda. I made everything go small. Sorry guys. Which takes us back to the senior mark, which gives you a chance anyway to find out where it was. Back on the first page where it says verse. Okay, here we go. Second page. Wonders modern technology, eh? Measure 32. Now I jump to the coda, which is on the final page. And then a final bit. Slide. Slide. Outro. Lovely. There we go. Fantastic. Really sweet, isn't it? Such a cool piece of music. George Harrison. He really came into his own, didn't he, on Abbey Road? I mean, he had Here Comes the Sun, which is absolutely stunning. And of course, Something as well. Absolutely beautiful song. And then just before it on the White Album, While My Guitar Gently Weeps. Wow! He was really hitting his stride then, wasn't he? Absolutely fantastic. Oh, Angela, have an amazing time. That's absolutely fantastic. I booked my flights for the Caribbean cruise today, which is really exciting. So it always feels really real when you've booked your flights, doesn't it? So fantastic. Don't worry, Karen, you will get it. You always get it in the end, Karen. You're really good at practicing and coming back to stuff. So keep at it. You'll get it for sure. Shell's got a question. Shell's just asking, hi Shell, by the way, would you play vibrato when there is a dotted quarter note ending a measure? Not on every instance, but certain parts of the melody where you might like to extend the note. Let me have a look. Let me go and find one, Shell. Probably. Let's have a look. Dotted quarter note. Let's see if we can find a couple. We go back to the first page and go from there. So I do like to add a wee bit of vibrato on. I see. Yeah. We can't put vibrato on the first one up here because that's an open A. But there probably is some occasions where we might do. Yeah, like measure 10. Yeah, Shell, you could definitely put vibrato at the end of measure 10, for instance. So when you do this, you could put a wee bit on there. When you come out of that one. It's a bit tricky though, because you're coming out of the G chord. So you probably want to leave your shape down. It's a little bit awkward, that one. You could even wobble the A7 slightly. But here's where you definitely could, because we've got this slide. There. Okay. Thanks, David. Just spotted it. Yeah, you got it. So yeah, you could do what. The only thing I would say, Shell, is that because it's when you play it at tempo, it's quite quick. So you might not have a lot of time to stick a vibrato in there, even though it's a dotted quarter note. At tempo, it's pretty quick. So if I was to do it kind of da 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 da. Time for a little bit of chord vibrato. I would probably actually, out of that whole first page, Shell, it's only really that G note after the A7 that I would have time to do it. So if you can go for it, but if it feels a bit too tricky, like you haven't got time to get the wiggle in, technical term again, you could just leave it for now. So yeah, you know me, I love playing with vibrato. I think it just extends the notes and it makes everything, it's like a little bit of sugar and salt, salt and pepper, something nice. Okay, so yeah, have a think about it. No worries, Barbara. We will see you again. I should remind you all, actually, just quickly before you all disappear, that I've got the next lesson prepared, and it's going to look something like this. We're going to look at how to build any chord on the ukulele. So this one's going to be relatively theory heavy. This is in 2 weeks' time. But the stuff that it will teach you, hopefully, if I get this right, fingers crossed I will, you'll get lots of ding, 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 light bulbs going off. So if you've ever wondered about chords, why is a minor chord a minor chord? Why is a major? What's the difference between a dominant seventh and a major seventh? What the heck is a half diminished chord? All these kind of chords that come up a lot in music, but you think, why am I playing those? Why are they the way they are? It will all be explained. You'll learn about scales as well, how scales are constructed from intervals, things like whole tones and semitones, all sorts of interesting stuff. And it's really key when I teach beginners and intermediates, I start to bring this stuff in relatively early because I think it really helps if you understand what's happening in music. It helps you with how to play it and why you're playing it, which I think is a cool thing to do, right? So yeah. Thanks, Hannah. Yes, Harrison was a brilliant and huge uke lover. Yeah. And you remember Hello, Hello. Amazing. Hang on, Anna, see if I can remember this one. Do you remember? Oh, Randy. Oh, it's ages since I've watched it, but yeah. Listen very carefully, I shall say this only once. I miss Hello, Hello. They should bring it back. I think the main actor, I forget his name, he's passed away now, hasn't he? But yeah, what a great show that was back in the day. Yeah, George apparently used to take a load of old ukuleles in the back of his car, didn't he? And if anyone was showing like an interest in ukulele, he'd let them borrow one or keep one, which I think is fantastic. He used to go up to the George Formby conventions up in Blackpool as well, which is pretty special. Imagine just sat there and, you know, George Harrison comes and sits next to you and starts playing. Well, it won't happen now, sadly, but it did happen to some people back in the day. Super cool. Shell says, you're right, when I play at my tortoise pace, the vibrato fits, but when you play at tempo, it doesn't sound as good. Yeah, I guess that's it. It's kind of horses for courses, isn't it? So it works on a slow version, but maybe not quite on the fast version. Thanks, Angela. Thanks, Karen. Yeah, if you guys can hit the thumbs up button, it just really helps the YouTube algorithm to pick it up and promote my teaching to other people, which is really important to me, and it really helps. So thank you. That's it. Oh, Renee, hold me in your arms. And I could do the bad French accent because it was a bad French accent, right? So that's so good. Oh, fantastic. And thanks, Laura. Looking forward to the next lesson. I'm looking forward to seeing you there. Hope it's all sunny up in Scotland for you. Just a reminder for anyone who was friends or knew Esther well back in the day before she passed away, the Karen Frog. You might remember she was one of our brilliant admins, really important part of our team, and sadly passed away this year. Her celebration of life is going to be this Saturday at the Elim Church. It's going to be family only in person, but they've got they're going to have what do you call it, a live feed. So if you'd like to come and be part of it just virtually, you know, listening in and whatnot, the link is on my Facebook page. So yeah, it'll be it'll be a sad occasion, but I think it's going to be a really happy occasion as well. Esther's asked that everyone wears colourful clothes, and me and Sam are going to play a bit of music at the event and stuff as well. So the link's going to be available through the church, but just go to my Facebook page and you'll find it there. So join us this Saturday if you can, and that will be really special. Otherwise, I will see you this Monday for the next Canna We're doing this Monday. We're doing a walking theme, which is going to be really nice. We're even going to play some Vashti Bunyan. I've been wanting to get one of her songs in for ages, so that's going to be this Monday, where I teach you to play without sheet music. And as I say, next live lesson is going to be 2 weeks' time, when I'll teach you all about chords, which should be fantastic. You guys are all members already, right? But I feel like I should say it. If anyone's interested, head over to my website. Easy to remember now, it's just learnukulele.com, and there you'll find 10 sequential courses, all designed to have a follow-on structure, one lesson to the next. Hundreds of pieces of repertoire there. If you enjoyed these live lessons, there's an archive of literally hundreds of them that you can watch back and learn from, as well as replays of our Canna Capella. There's a ukulele tuner on there, all sorts. Go and check it out. Anyway, learnukulele.com. So take care, everyone. Much love, and I will see you on Uke very soon. Thanks for all of your support, and thanks for being totally ace as always, everyone. Take care, guys. Bye.